everyone. This is Annette Dion, and it's time for church. It's a new year, and I'm doing a new thing. I'm doing Church of Spirituality live today, and hopefully we won't have any technological glitches. And I'm just going to play a few things while I wait for people to show up. I hope you're having a good Sunday. The first Sunday of 2022, 2022. That's a lot of twos. Me and you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play some music, and that will give people a little bit of an opportunity to show up. I just want to alert everybody to the fact that it would be really hard for me to read the chat while I'm doing the service. So if I don't like read what you're writing, it's just because I'm focusing. So, and if you see any trolls, just send them light and love, because I don't really have any moderators yet. I have to figure all that out. So if you see any trolls, we'll just send them light and love, and we'll just go at it that way. So the first Sunday in January, this new year, Happy New Year. Some of you may have been with us, well, me and the guides on New Year's Eve. I did an inspirational evening. There's some real gems in there in terms of what I read from, the books that I read from. So if you get a chance to check out the New Year's Eve event on my YouTube page, then definitely you'll get some good wisdom. So I've been doing this every single Sunday since last December 6, 2020, and it started on Facebook, and now I'm moving everything to YouTube. So this is the very first time that I've gone live with Church of Spirituality. So I do have a program. I write a program every week, and we have a new theme every month. And if you would like to ever receive the program, the best thing to do is send an email to AnnetteDion7@gmail.com and just say that you're requesting the program. So I also collect donations, and the donations 100% go to a charity. And when I figure out what the link is, there's a GoFundMe page for a person who has been a client of mine who lost everything in the fires in Colorado, and she had an online business called Philosophy with an F, and her name is Katie, and she lost everything in the fires in Colorado just a couple days ago. So I would say that until I get that link, you can donate to any organization that is helping the Colorado wildfire victims over the past couple of days. So once again, if you'd like to receive the program at any point, even after the service, AnnetteDion7@gmail.com, and I will get your email address and email you the program. Today's sermon is Love, God's Indestructible Creation. Love, God's indestructible creation. So we're talking about creating love. And our theme for January is creating anew. So there's that. I like to start with just some music. So I'm going to just randomly pick some music from a hymnal. And Church of Spirituality is not a denominational church with rules and all that. We are... we're really just a church that I decided to invent to answer the call that people have, the need that people have for a place to sort of acknowledge their spiritual selves and to come together in fellowship. So I'm just going to play a little hymn called The King of Love, My Shepherd Is. So if you could just take a few breaths, maybe take the pleasure of having just this space and time for yourself to be quiet, to join in fellowship with others that will join us today. I will post this video right after it's finished. Our church service is an hour. And I'm just going to play a couple more and then get right into the program. So kind of randomly just, choosing some hymns. I used to play piano for Christian churches, 10 years in the Catholic Church and 5 years for a Methodist church. So I draw from all kinds of sources. This is Nearer My God to Thee. Nearer my God to Thee. Okay, let's get into the program, shall we? As I said, this is Church of Spirituality. We meet every single Sunday. Thank you for joining. This is the very first time that I've gone live on YouTube. I have gone live on Facebook, but not on YouTube. So welcome. Thank you for being here. Today's theme for the month of January is creating anew. It's a brand new year. We're going to be learning how to create anew, and the sermon today is love. God's indestructible creation is love. If the messages you receive today are helpful and uplifting to you, please consider inviting someone to tune in with you, and you can share this video, and you also can subscribe to this channel, which kind of doing everything that I do on this channel. So welcome. In time, we will have a prayer meeting scheduled for sometime during the week. It might be on Mondays. Right now, that's just kind of on hold, and I will keep you posted about that. So introductions and announcements. I'm Annette Dion. I started Church of Spirituality on December 6th in 2020, so a little over a year. We will have a time that we do quiet guided prayer and meditation shortly. So I said earlier, before some of you came on, that I will have a hard time reading the comments as I'm, like giving a sermon and such. But I want you to know that if you post your prayer requests, I probably can see them before we start our prayer time. So feel free. And if I miss them, just know that the divine, God, source, life, whatever you call this intelligence that runs this whole show, hears what's in your heart and knows what's in your heart. So you can put up your comments, and others, if I miss your comment about what to pray for you, and maybe your loved ones and friends, if I miss that, then other people in the chat will probably see your prayer request, and they'll have it in mind too. We're all one, we're all connected, and I'm going to read our mission statement. We believe we are all connected to divine intelligence, continually moving through all of life and through all living things. We remember to always align ourselves with this divine presence to create healing miracles in our own lives, positively affecting the lives of all those we come into contact with, seen and unseen. We believe that the kingdom of heaven resides within each one of us, and that love is all there is. We know and acknowledge that we are all one. I'm going to now teach you a few chants that I wrote a while back, and these are just to help you throughout your day and throughout your week, and they're really catchy. So be forewarned, they're really catchy, but they're good. They're good to have in your bag of tricks of dealing with anything to do with, you know, life. The first one is All Is Well, and it goes like this. All is well, all is well, all is well. We do them 3 times. All is well, all is well, all is well. One more time. All is well, all is well, all is well. For our next chant, we're going to sing I Forgive Everyone. We are really big on forgiveness around here. And as we may well know, forgiveness doesn't mean condoning horrible behavior. It means freeing ourselves energetically so that we can be clearer channels for love and light and all that good stuff. And it goes like this. I forgive everyone, I forgive everyone, I forgive everyone, I forgive everyone, forgive everyone. And with God's help, I forgive everyone, especially myself. Now we say we. We forgive everyone, we forgive everyone, we forgive everyone, we forgive everyone, forgive everyone. And with God's help, we forgive everyone, especially ourselves. One more time. We forgive everyone, we forgive everyone, we forgive everyone, we forgive everyone, forgive everyone. And with God's help, we forgive everyone, especially ourselves. Sometimes we're so mean to ourselves. We're so just awful in the way we speak to ourselves and think about ourselves. And so forgiving ourselves for that is really important. And so what I want to do is now go to the third one. I am seeing some of your comments, and just know that I've seen a couple prayer requests, and others can see your prayer requests too, even if I miss them. So we'll be holding you in our intentions. One more chant, and then we're going to go to the prayer. Don't mind me in my office studio. Let's see. I move at God's pace and I receive God's guidance. God provides abundantly, I have no fear at all. We move at God's pace and we receive God's guidance. God provides abundantly, we have no fear at all. One more. We move at God's pace and we receive God's guidance. God provides abundantly, we have no fear at all. God provides abundantly, we have no fear at all. There's nothing to fear except fear itself, right? Okay. No need to fear, no need to fear. God is greater than fear. Just for any of you who are new, which probably several of you are new, I just want you to know that this is kind of a non-denominational church. There aren't any rules. We're just acknowledging in fellowship that we are all spiritual beings and we're all united in the light. So, okay. So, prayer time. If I don't see your comments, God is seeing your comments, and others are seeing your comments too. We will be closing our eyes for this prayer time. So it's just a few minutes. It's just like 3-4 minutes of just prayer. So we're going to close our eyes and take a few deep breaths. And I'm going to I'm going to sing a little bit of a prayer chant to sort of get us into the prayer. And if you can be in a quiet space, that's really best. So tell everyone, you know, if they want to pray with you, that's beautiful. That's totally allowed, even if it's your pets. And the chant goes like this. Everybody just settle in, take some deep breaths, and just be in the present. Eyes closed. We are one in spirit. We co-create with God. We lift our prayers up to the light, expanding loving thoughts. Ahom, ahom, ahom. We are one in spirit. We co-create with God. We lift our prayers up to the light, expanding loving thoughts. Ahom, ahom, ahom. In the Holy Bible, the Psalm 46 verse 10 says, "Be still and know that I am God." So with your eyes closed, we will join in prayer. I did notice some people wanted prayers for loved ones who are ill and elderly, so we'll keep them in mind. Bringing all your focus, awareness to the sensation of the breath moving in and out. The past is over. The future is a mystery. Right now is a gift. That's why we call it the present. Dear God, we thank you for this fellowship. We thank you for all those that are here today at this time and all those who will be watching, that we are coming together in awareness that we are spiritual beings in human form. And we give thanks for the raising awareness, the expanding awareness that we are all brothers and sisters here to heal and to love and to expand that love throughout the world, through our prayers and intentions and being quiet. We are agents of peace. And we ask you to guide us further on our travels into this new year. And we have faith in the blessings and the guidance and the love that you are showering upon us. Dear God, we ask during these challenging times that you be with those who are suffering. We ask for you to guide us in how we may help and who needs our help the most. Please, God, make us a more generous people. Assist us in thinking of others more than ourselves when it comes to helping, knowing that you replenish us, that you restore our energy, and that when we give, we receive from you. We ask for solutions for the global climate challenge that we face. We ask for a mass awakening of world leaders and action that is no longer obstructed towards helping this planet to heal. And we also pray and affirm that solutions for this global pandemic are being found and distributed evenly throughout the globe. We ask that our environmental challenge of plastics and garbage and pollution be addressed and met, and all other environmental challenges such as drilling and wounding the earth with oil exploration. We ask for alternatives to be the mainstream. Dear Lord, we ask that you ease our suffering. We ask for an end to all war. We ask for an end to human suffering, slavery, trafficking, oppression. We ask for you to help the children and future generations to have hope and a new beginning where love and healing prevail. Whisper into each of our hearts, dear Lord. Give us a certain sense of what we are here to do and the motivation to move forward in courage and inspiration to do the work of love. We ask that all spiritual leaders and teachers and healers become the most prominent faces and voices that we see and hear. Give us strength, give us courage, give us faith. And please heal the divisiveness in America. And especially, dear Lord, we ask for your protection and comfort during this very difficult week in America, where we recognize the threat to our democracy and ask you in humility for healing and protection. All those who are saddened and feeling depressed, please uplift them, dear Lord, and help us to uplift each other. In the Christ light, in your name, unite us. As we release this prayer to the law, we know that it is done, and we give great thanks that it is done in faith, and so it is. Amen. Okay, so we're back, and thank you for joining us in that prayer. We're going to read the first reading, and the first reading is from, let's see, what's the first reading from? The Essential Ernest Holmes. If you've kind of visited here before, amen. If you've kind of visited before, you know that I draw quite a lot. I don't know if I have the book handy here. It's around somewhere. From Ernest Holmes, The Science of Mind. And The Science of Mind is not to be confused with Scientology. Ernest Holmes actually knew Mary Baker Eddy. I think he learned from her back in the 30s and 40s. Ernest Holmes wrote The Science of Mind, and it's got sort of a metaphysical and more modern interpretation of the Holy Bible and the teachings of Christ. And also, sometimes we pull readings from the Bible. Today we're going to pull readings from sort of this New Thought Christianity. So this is from the Essential Ernest Holmes, collected writings by the author of The Science of Mind, by Jesse Jennings. And our topic today is creating a new and love God's indestructible creation. We must be careful in the transition from the old to the new, not to knock props from under us, which perhaps we still need, not to rob people of their God unless we can give them a better one. That's what we're after. I'm going to read that again. We must be careful in the transition from the old to the new, not to knock props out from under us, which perhaps we still need, not to rob people of their God unless we can give them a better one, for that is the most destructive thing in the world. I would rather see someone with a poor idea of a deity than to see him have no concept of deity at all, because we must all interpret God through our perception of the divine being. In the transition, then, let us be careful that in place of every false supposition which we once had, we shall find a divine reality which is an eternal verity. If we seek to combat evil, we should be careful that we do not make the evil real. I'm going to read that line again. It's worth repeating. If we seek to combat evil, we should be careful that we do not make the evil real. There is a place in the mind which intuitively knows that good overcomes evil, and there is a place which knows no evil to overcome. Our argument then is between the experience of evil and a solid conviction that good is the only reality. The law of life cannot produce death. Wholeness cannot will to create apartness. Omniscience cannot will ignorance, and God did not make the devil. If we mix the concept of good with the concept of evil, the result will fluctuate between the two. If we mix a concept of peace and a concept of confusion, the result will be both peace and confusion. If our thought fluctuates, our external world will fluctuate also. We cannot expect to convert our whole consciousness in a moment, nor is it necessary. But if we take the mental stand that evil and negative conditions are not things in themselves, and constantly and consistently affirm that good alone has constructive and lasting power, is a spiritual entity, and has a real law to support it, and that good is active in our experience, then we will demonstrate our theory no matter what the existing conditions to the contrary may be. So we must hold fast to the good. As I said before, if you just joined us, if you'd like to receive the program, email me AnnetteDion7@gmail.com and I can send you the program. And this is when we go into our first musical selection. Because the topic today is love, God's indestructible creation. Our theme for January is creating anew. I decided to do a song that was written by my dear friend Brenton Washantara Roberts, who's no longer with us. He left us from the earthly plane in February of 2020. And you can look up Brenton Washantara Roberts on YouTube, and you can actually see him performing the song. This is called Can't Stop Love, and dedicated to you all via my friend Brenton on the spirit plane. He was a very incredible soul, and very, very, really probably the most loving person I ever met. Total bright light. This is Can't Stop Love. In this world as we live and we learn about each other, you will find you and I are really not so far apart. With a little give and take, we can make a change someday. When one gives to another, you know the world's a better place. Brenton Washington Roberts. He's still with us in spirit. Okay, well, the nice thing about going live is I don't have to break this up into 2 parts, so we can all be together the whole time. You know, did you ever meet those kinds of people that they just, you know, they make an impression on every single person that they meet, and they're just beacons of light? That was Brenton. He was amazing. Very gifted performer and songwriter. Our second reading is from Emmett Fox. And Emmett Fox is also kind of a teacher of science of mind and new thought, which is really based on we co-create what happens in our lives with the divine. So Emmett Fox, this is from Find and Use Your Inner Power. We're really in the co-creating our lives and the world the way that we wish to see it by aligning with the presence and not thinking of it as a separate presence, because we are from that presence and we are part of it. And it's important that we understand that we are creators, and our thinking and what we say, what we do, how we even hold ourselves in life has an impact on the whole. So this is Find and Use Your Inner Power from Emmett Fox. Don't wait for something to turn up. Don't be content to let things drift along hoping for the best. It is not spiritual to put up with inharmonious conditions. If the conditions of your life are not to your liking, you must get to work on your own consciousness, and by raising that above the outer picture, cause those conditions to become something nearer to your heart's desire. And you must keep on doing this until you find your true place. And this is for the collective too, not just the individuals. And then Emmett Fox goes on to recount a personal experience that he had. He says, I had an amusing experience when I first came to America. Emmett Fox was English. Passing an attractive-looking restaurant, I went inside and, selecting a table, sat down and waited. Strangely, as it seemed to me then, nothing happened. I sat there and continued to wait, indefinitely as it seemed. I could not understand the reason for this neglect in this restaurant. All around me, people were enjoying their food, and only I was left out in the cold. After a while, the truth of the situation slowly dawned on me. It was a cafeteria. This system had not yet made its appearance in England in those days. I then quickly realized that while there was plenty of food of every kind to be obtained, one had to go forward and claim it for himself or go without. The universe is run exactly on the lines of a cafeteria. Unless you claim mentally what you want, you may sit and wait forever. Of course, you should not claim in detail, that is outlining, but you must positively claim health, harmony, and true place if you really want those things. I really like that. You might notice, we'll get to the sermon momentarily, but you might notice that we seem to be in sort of like this mass consciousness of we'll just wait and see what happens, you know, and that's just like, we're here to co-create what happens, so we got to remember that. Our next musical selection is one that you know, and I chose this because of the difficult week that we're in America. And as we know that January 6th is really, you know, indelibly etched into our consciousness as a very tragic day that happened. Sorry for me running my own TV studio here. Not that well at times. So in the spirit of that we're in a kind of a difficult week, and we have a collective trauma about, you know, that we almost lost our country a year ago, Thursday. I decided to pick for the second musical selection, We Shall Overcome. If you know it, sing it. I changed it to the present here and there. Because it's really important. Beautiful song. It's really important to remember that we need to affirm things as though they are already so. Really important to remember that. It's a beautiful song, and I know we shall overcome someday. I just want to remind everybody that when we bring it into the present moment, that we are in the solution, that it's even that much more powerful. So that brings us to our sermon time. And going back to a couple of things, going back to our readings, just like what Ernest Holmes said, we must be careful in the transition from the old to the new, not to knock props from under us, which perhaps we still need, not to rob people of their God unless we can give them a better one. I just wanted to mention that Ernest Holmes is speaking to the reason that I felt a calling to start Church of Spirituality. I always was of the mind that as children, it's so important, and if you have children, you might, just take this in. It's so important to have some kind of a concept of a higher power. Because you know what, even Albert Einstein, during his life, through all his discoveries that he made and scientific, revelations, that in the end, all he could attribute his discoveries of science to is the existence of a higher power. And if we come to a place where we have some sort of a background in, being kind of taught to familiarize ourselves with a higher power, we can navigate through life a lot more easily, in the sense that, it's almost like taking the pressure off in a way. It's like, oh, there's some sort of a force that can help me with things that I can kind of, reflect upon and sort of pray to or affirm with, that can get me through this hard time or these challenges, or that I'm working with. It's kind of like, having a companion. Not long ago, at one of our services, I read the Footprints in the Sand poem that was about when one was actually doing kind of in a dream, kind of sort of a life review, and seeing the footprints in the sand where, Christ was walking with this person in the dream, and he saw two sets of footprints, and then at one point he only saw one set of footprints, his own, and he kind of complained to Jesus. Those were the hardest times when I saw only one set of footprints. Those are the hardest times ever that I was going through. How dare you abandon me? I'm paraphrasing, obviously. And Jesus said, my son, that those times that you only see one set of footprints in the sand, that is when I carried you. So just having this awareness that we're not alone in this, we're not alone in our lives. We can always just remind ourselves that this power is with us at all times. We can always draw upon it. And during these times that people feel so alone, in the Bible it says, where two or more are gathered, I am there with you. And I believe, God is always with us, but even more powerfully, like exponentially increased, when we're joined in communion with others, and this common denominator, in this common prayer and common intentionality. So we have to remember that we are never alone. And if we feel lonely, then something's gone amiss. Something's gone a little nuts. And usually what's gone a little nuts is our sense that that there's only one, reality, which is if you're not seeing people in your, circumference, that it means you're really alone. A lot of people spent the holidays on their own. A lot of people spent the holidays, thinking, oh, I'm the only one that's so alone. And if we can come together in community, we're not going to feel that way. If you're really in tune with your spiritual nature, and you're kind of practiced in that, even in the aloneness, you will not feel lonely. But, by the same token, it's really critically important that we come together and assure each other, hey, I'm with you. You're not by yourself. Even in the spirit of understanding each other, even in the spirit of, I feel this way. Do you feel this way too? And that's so, 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 so important. The love that connects us all is always available to us. Some of us are shining it out brightly and some of us are hiding it under a bushel, but we're all meant to shine it. We are all meant to make manifest the glory of the vibration of the divine energy, which is our healing. That is where our healing comes from. That's where it resides, and it's within every one of us. And the most important thing that we have to recognize is when we are still, we can feel it the most intensely. I mentioned last night in a video I did last night when somebody said that they tried to meditate as if it was some sort of like a curriculum, and it's just one person. I hear it all the time. As if there's some kind of a perfect way to be still, and as if you don't do it that way, then it's wrong and you might as well give it up. There's no need for that. We can all get still. I know there's huge resistance to that, the idea of being still. I know that people have difficulty with that, and it's really because of our programming that, the kingdom of heaven is perhaps outside of us, or there's something outside that we need to get, and our minds will just go on in this constant kind of monologue about, assessing everything that's going on and judging you and judging others and, liking this and not liking that, and it's continuous. And it's so important that we understand that being still is the place to go when we feel like we're at our wit's end. And if our minds go on and on and on, let the mind just do what it's going to do, and still be in that stillness and still be available for it. This is where the big stuff resides. This is where the highest frequency vibration of the glory to God in the highest resides, is in that feeling. We must give ourselves the opportunity to connect with it. And then when we connect with each other, if we connect on our own with it, then, we get more tapped into it. We know what it feels like. We have a frame of reference for that God presence within us. And then when we're with others, ideal case, scenario that they're also in tune with it, then we can move mountains. We can do amazing things with that energy. In the spirit of this week being a week in the United States of collective PTSD and trauma, as our own country was attacked by our own citizens and almost took our government down, we have to unite in the spirit. In spirit. We have to inspire one another that together we can stop the violence. That's why I played We Shall Overcome. Together we can hold a vision for a better country and a better world. We have to find the peace within ourselves in order to really be super, super powerful and super, super effective at that. We have to learn how to go there. I just got through listening to a portion of Sadhguru's talk for the new year, which happened like more than a day ago, because India, was like ahead of the United States. And so he was talking about studies that have been done of people being, just put alone in a room for the sake of this experiment, and that most of the people that were put in a room alone for, maybe just a couple hours, I think it was, actually were in such a painful mental, anguish state, just being alone in a room, that they actually preferred to have small shocks sent to them so that they could feel something rather than feel by themselves in this solitude. And he was expressing this, and it just seemed so kind of off and very disturbing that so many would have such a hard time just being still. And that is not a judgment. This is not about right or wrong. This is just about the awareness that it's so hard for people to be still, but we must know this: be still and know that I am God. When we go into the stillness, we go into the energy that is the healing frequency, and we've got to come together and feel that frequency and use that frequency to have peace happen in this country, in the United States, and in the world in turn. I'm just gonna go to a couple of statements from the readings. In this new year, we can have a new vision. So we must be careful in the transition from the old to the new, not to knock props out from under us, which perhaps we still need. Like I was mentioning, my point about teaching children at a young age that there is a higher power. If we come from a certain religion where we were taught that there's a higher power, but unfortunately we're taught a lot of things that made us feel guilty and, not like we're okay, or not like we're supposed to have, the kingdom of heaven on earth. If we were brought up with an idea of God that was not like just unconditionally loving, we don't want to throw out the whole concept of God altogether. We just want to take what we can that's useful to us and leave the rest. It's really fine to do that, because everybody has their own inner wisdom and own inner guidance and own inner love and own inner compass of what's good and what's not good. We all have that. And if we've gotten caught up in like, well, I don't go to church, or I don't like that religion stuff, let's not throw out everything. Let's take, that's why Ernest Holmes said, we don't want to knock all the props out from under us. If you are a believer in, the Bible, so be it. If you're of the Jewish faith, so be it. If you're a Muslim, so be it. There's a concept of God in every one of those. So let's just take what we find universal and useful, which is love and healing and connectedness. We are all one energy, and the scientists have even proven that in each and every person's DNA, there's a speck of light that connects each and every one of us. Do not think that we're heading for, in the United States, do not dwell on thinking it's all over, we're going to a fascist, regime. Do not be thinking in that vein. Be thinking of the opportunity for unity and for healing that exists here and now in every single moment. So I want to make sure that you all are hearing this message. If there's any kind of a problem with the technology, I will get it worked out. And I just want to know that I want you all to know the most important thing is that we're here together in this energy, and that we must acknowledge that together we can make it through this. Together we can call in the love, we can be in the love, and we can heal this nation and we can heal this country. Let us know that love never fails, and love is still the most powerful force in the entire universe. And so it is. So let's go to the next part of the program. Thank you for listening. I got a couple of messages there that we had technological glitches. I am working them out. We're still in the thank you. We're still in the working out the technological glitches phase, but everybody has them now. It's kind of a thing. If you have any comments, anything that you'd like to send to me, you can send it to AnnetteDion7@gmail.com. As I said, this is the first live online Church of Spirituality service. I'm hoping to do this through the whole year. Thank you. And that's my intent. And I will post this right afterwards too, so others can hear the message too. On that note, just of the PTSD that we're going through in this country around January 6th in the United States, I have been receiving guidance to have some kind of a prayer vigil, and I'm going to kind of put that in place over the next day or so. And just watch this space, because I will post what we've decided to do. It might be just be like 5 to 10 minutes each day of just prayer and contemplation. So I will do that starting likely tomorrow. So just, watch the space and I'll let you know. So, because we have to keep the energy up. We really, really, really do. The donations for this month are going to, when I can get the link posted, I have a friend in Colorado who lost everything in the fires. So we're going to, oh good, I'm so glad. The technology is working in Scotland. That's really good to know. So we're going to be sending donations for this week, actually, 100% to people that lost everything in the fires in Colorado a couple of days ago. 100% of donations that come to Church of Spirituality through my message go to charities. So thank you for your caring and compassion for others. And I'm going to read our prayer of thanksgiving. Wow, time is flying. Dear God, thank you for making us more aware of what we have that we can give to others to make a difference in this troubled world. Please help us to look deeply into our hearts to see that we can give more of our tithes, talents, and time. Grant us the inspiration to be a generous people, and thank you for the bounty which we receive. Amen. So I will put a link to organizations to support people who lost everything in the wildfires. I will put that up. It's pretty unbelievable how much environmental devastation we are experiencing. We really have to take action. We kind of can't sit on the couch anymore. It's like Emmett Fox's story about going to a restaurant and sitting there wondering why he wasn't getting any food and then realized it was a cafeteria. We have to get up and get these things going on, right? I love that story. I thought that was really cute. This is a hymn this is our closing hymn, and it's called Pass It On. And I'm going to also follow this up with a reading from Ernest Holmes, and then we can go on our way to the new year. This is called Pass It On. It only takes a spark to get a fire going, and soon all those around can warm up in its glowing. That's how it is with God's love. Once you've experienced it, you spread His love to everyone. You want to pass it on. I wish for you, my friend, this happiness that I have found. You can depend on Him. It matters not where you're bound. I'll shout it from the mountaintop. I want my world to know the Lord of love has come to me. I want to pass it on. The Lord of love has come to us. We want to pass it on. Love has come to us and we want to pass it on. We are going to finish up with a little reading from Ernest Holmes, and I always close with this. I love this one. Speaking of the divine always walking with us. Through the long night watches, God's hand clasps ours. At the break of dawn, God's hand clasps ours. In the daytime of work and endeavor, from eternity to eternity, God's hand clasps ours. When time shall have passed, when eternity shall be strewn about like falling petals, and space and worlds shall be swallowed up in everlasting blessedness, God's hand shall clasp ours, and so it is. Please keep an eye out for a mention of a prayer vigil I'll put it on my page in the community page. And I think that's it. So go in peace, pray for peace, and be peace. And thank you for joining me for the first live Church of Spirituality on YouTube. I really appreciated the fellowship, and let's keep our prayers going. Namaste. Have a good day.